Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, fourth grade learners, my sweethearts. I hope that you all are doing well. With you, Miss Amani, math teacher from Al-Afaq International School, Jeddah. Welcome to the world of virtual learning. Today's lesson is talking about add fractions with denominators of 10 and 100. Instructions. Listen to the lesson's explanation. Open your book on page 647. Check your answers. Give a star to each correct answer. Raise your hand if you have a question. The standards. Our standard for our lesson today, 4. Numbers and operations fractions. C.5 express a fraction with denominator 10 as an equivalent fraction with denominator 100, and use this technique to add two fractions with respective denominators 10 and 100. Our objectives: first one, convert the fraction having denominator 10 to equivalent fraction with denominator 100. Second, add the fractions by adding denominators. Third, leave the denominator 100 unchanged. We learned before adding fractions that have the same denominator. If we already have the same denominator, we can add by keeping here the same denominator and just add the numerators together. So here 1 over 5 plus 3 over 5, I keep here the same denominator and we add the numerators together. 1 plus 3 is 4. What about this example? 4 over 10 plus 50 over 100. We can change a fraction with denominator 10 to a fraction with denominator 100 by multiplying. You know we can get here the same value for the fraction by using here equivalent fraction. So here we can get here a fraction with denominator 100 from here a fraction with denominator 10 by multiplying. Multiply what? Multiply the numerator and denominator by the same number. So here if we multiply 4 over 10, both of them by 10, we will get here 40 over 100. And keep the second fraction the same, so 40 over 100 plus 50 over 100. By this way, by getting here the equivalent fraction, 4 over 10 as 40 over 100, we get here the same denominator. So here, by this way, we got the trick for adding fractions that have the same denominator. We can start adding, keep the denominator the same, and just add the numerators together. So here we keep 100 the same, and right here the total numerators will be 90. Here we have this fraction with denominator of 100, so I can submit this fraction as decimal form. 90 over 100, we can write it as 0.90, and 0.90 equal to also 0.9. So in this way, we convert here a fraction with denominator 10 to a fraction with denominator 100. What about here if we take the second fraction with denominator 100 and change it to a fraction or convert it to a fraction with denominator 10? I can get here 10 from 100 if I divide by 10. If I divide here the denominator by 10, I must here divide also its numerator by 10. So 50 by 10 will be 5. 100 by 10 will be 10. Rewrite again the two fractions will be 4 over 10 plus 5 over 10. So by this way, I keep the first fraction and I change the fraction with denominator of 100 as a fraction with denominator of 10 by getting here the equivalent fractions by using here division as operation. So here by this way also we got the same denominator. If we got here the same denominator, you got here the trick for adding fractions. You have the same denominator, keep it the same, and we just add the numerators together 4 plus 5 will be 9. Also, if we have a fraction with denominator of 10, we can write it in decimal form. So here will be 0.9, the same answer in the left side. In the book, add the fractions. Number 9, 21 over 100 plus 2 over 10. First fraction is written again, 21 over 100. And the second fraction is written here as denominator of 100. So what happened here for the denominator? Here, what happened here for the denominator of 10? Denominator here is changing to 100. By using what? By using multiplying. So 10 be 100 when I multiply by 10. So what will happen here for its numerator? Its numerator also can be multiplying by 10. So here 2 multiplied by 10 should be here 20. So by this way, we got like denominator. Now we are already here to add. Here, add the numerators together. 21 plus 20 will be what? Will be 41. What about here the denominator? Will be a change? All stayed the same? Stayed the same. So here will be 100. Next one. What over 10 plus 68 over 100? The first fraction here is submitting as 30 over 100. So what happened here for the denominator to be 100? 10 multiplied by 10 will be 100. So here the denominator multiplied here by 10. And what should you do here with its numerator? Also should multiply it by 10. But here the answer is 30. So which number multiplied by 10 will be 30? Which number here? So 3 multiplied by 10 will be 30. So here multiplied by 10. So in the beginning, we had a fraction with denominator of 10 and change it by using multiplying up and down by the same number to get here a fraction with denominator of 100. What about here the second fraction? Keep it the same because it has already denominator of 100. By this way, we are going to add two fractions that have the same denominator. So by this way, you got here the trick for adding fractions. To keep here the same denominator, you have here 100, here 100, here the same denominator. What about here the numerator? We have to add the numerators together. So 0 plus 8 will be, great, will be 8. What about here? 3 plus 6 will be 9. The total numerators here is 98 over here, the same denominator over 100. As we said before, if I have fraction with denominator of 100 or of 10, we can submit it as decimal form. 98 over 100 as decimal form would be 0.98. So if I have 100 as a denominator, the decimal point here will be after 2 digits from the right. So here as decimal form will be 0.98. Number 11. 4 over 10 plus 60 over 100. I submit them as two fractions with denominator of 10. So here, first fraction, it already has the denominator of 10. So here its numerator will be the same. Its numerator again will be the same. What happened here for the second fraction? Here, its denominator was 100, but it is now 10. What happened here for this 100 to be 10? By using what? Division. So 100 divided by 10 will be 10. So as you divided the denominator, you must also divide the numerator. So 60 also divided by 10 will be what here will be 6. So we got here an equivalent fraction by using in number 11 by using here division, not by using multiplying. By this way, you got here also the same denominator. So you already now to add, keep the same denominator 10. And here, what about here the numerators? 4 plus 6 is 10. The total here is 10 over 10. And as you know, if we have fractions that has its numerator and denominator the same, the answer will be 1 as a whole. Number 12. With me, 32 over 100 plus 28 over 100 plus 6 over 10. I have two fractions that have 100 as a denominator. What about here, the third one? It has 10 as a denominator. So here, easy for us to change the third one that has denominator of 10 to fraction that has denominator of 100. 10 be 100 if we multiply by 10. So here, multiply just the denominator, or we must multiply numerator and denominator? Great. We must here multiply numerator and denominator. So when I multiply 6 and 10, both of them by 10, so here 6 will be 60, and here 10 will be 100. By this way, we got here the trick for adding fractions. All the fractions here have the same denominator. So here, what about here the denominator? When we add all the fractions together, we keep the denominator the same. Then we just add the numerators together. Start adding from ones. Yeah, whole share. 2 and 8 and 0. All the ones will be 10. 0 and group 1. Great. Add all the tens together. 1 and 3, 4. 4 and 2, 6. 6 and 6. Whole answer? Yeah, great. 12. So here, to submit this fraction 120 over 100 will be, you have denominator of 100, so the decimal point will be after 2 digits from the right, so will be 1.20. Also the same as you write here, 1.2. Great job. Number 13. 11 over 10 plus 41 over 100. Here, Miss, I want to change here the fraction with denominator of 100 to a fraction with denominator of 10, like number 11. But take care here. Number 11, when we change it here, the fraction with denominator of 100 to the fraction with denominator of 10, also here its numerator is multiple of 10, so can be divided by 10. What about here number 13? If you want to keep here the fraction with denominator of 10 the same, and you want to change the fraction with denominator of 100 to a fraction with denominator of 10 by using dividing. So here, if you divide here the denominator by 10, you will get here 10. What about 41? Is it multiple of 10? No. So it cannot here be divided by 10. So here, easy for us to change the fraction with denominator of 10 to the fraction with denominator of 100 by multiplying. So here, 11 multiplied by 10 will be 110. And 10 multiplied by 10 will be 100. Now start adding. we have the same denominator, the same denominators here, so the denominator will be the same. What about here, the numerators? Yeah, we have here to add the numerators together. 0 plus 1 will be 1. 1 plus 4 will be 5. What about here, hundreds? We have 1 in the hundreds. 151 over 100. We can submit it as decimal form by putting here the decimal point after 2 digits from the right. So here you can submit here the numerator 151. Then as we said here, if we have denominator of 100, we can put here the decimal point. We can decide here the place for the decimal point after 2 digits from the right. So here will be between 1 and 5. Great job. Number 14. 72 over 100 plus 6 over 10. Yeah, great. We are going to change 6 over 10 as a fraction with denominator of 100 by, multiplying its numerator and its denominator by 10. What about here 6? When you multiply it by 10 will be 60. What about here 10? When you multiply it by 10 will be 100. Great job. By this way, you got here the trick for adding fractions. The trick again for adding fractions, we must have the same denominator to add the fractions, because when we add fractions, we cannot add the denominators. So here we keep it the same. What about here the numerators? 2 plus 0 will be 2, and 7 plus 6 will be 13. Equal to, submitted in decimal form, will be 1 point, as you know, 32, because we took here the decimal point after 2 digits from the right. Great job. Number 15, 5 over 10 plus 3 over 10 plus 18 over 100. We have two fractions with denominators of 10. But easier for us to change the denominator of 10 to the denominator of 100, because it is allowed to multiply any fraction. But here, what about here if you want to think about it? It's changing this fraction with denominator of 100 to fraction with denominator of 10. Okay, we can get here 10 from 100 by dividing by 10. But what about 18? 18 here cannot be divided by 10. So here, easy for us to change the fractions with denominator of 10 to the fractions with denominator of 100. So here, by multiplying by 10 up and down, will be 50 over 100. Also, second fraction, by multiplying by 10 up and down, will be 30 over 100. And keep the third fraction the same. Now we have all the fractions that have here the same denominator. What about here adding fractions? Keep the denominator the same. What about here numerators? Add them together. Yeah, start adding from, great, from ones. 0, 0, 8. So the total ones here will be 8. What about here tens? 5, 3, 1 will be 9. As decimal form will be 0.98. Great. So if I have here 100 as a denominator, it means I have 2 digits in the decimal digits. What about number 16? Great. We are going to change 6 over 10 as a fraction with 100 in the denominator. So here, 6 over 10 will be 60 over 100. Yeah. Keep the denominator here the same. And what about here? 7 over 7 plus 60. Yeah, great. Will be 67. Yeah, of course, we have to change this form to decimal form because here we have denominator of 100. So will be what? Yeah, 0.67. Next one, 9 over 10 plus 4 over 100. Hmm? Yeah, we are going to change the fraction with denominator of 10 to the fraction with denominator of 100. Yes, by dividing? No, by multiplying. So here, by multiplying 9 by 10 will be 90, and by multiplying 10 by 10 will be 100. Yeah, so easy now. Keep what? The same denominator. And what about here, the numerators? 90 plus 4 will be 94. Great job. Decimal form, yeah, we are going to write the decimal form. 0.94. Great job. Grade 4, thank you so much.